Insights channel, Steve here, and today I'm going to read you from my latest book. It just came out. A week ago or so. It's been published. Secrets of ENOCH Insights, from the second book of Enoch. And today I'm going to read to you a little bit from chapter 35. Now, what I try and do with my Insights books is to give you the original text of the original books, which are often thousands of years old, from ancient Hebrew. And you'll find the original text in boxes in my book. So if you just want to read them, you can read them. And then I also put a lot of comments, and I put a lot of Bible cross-references, Bible verses that is, and also some other linking information. This is chapter 35. See what you think about this chapter. This is God speaking to Enoch all the time, or is his angel talking to Enoch? And this is based on the second book of Enoch, or the secrets of Enoch. So verse 1, Behold, from their seed shall arise another generation, much afterwards, but of them many will be very insatiate. Talk about mankind in the future, or today. Well, let's see what we think. Comment number 1, insatiate definition, never satisfied or even demonic. Verse 2, He who raises that generation shall reveal to them the books of thy handwriting, of thy fathers, to them to whom he must point out the guardianship of the world, to the faithful men and workers of my pleasure, who do not acknowledge my name in vain. Comment 2. Reveal to them the books of thy handwriting, of thy fathers. So God is telling Enoch here, in the future, there's going to come a very evil generation, but there are going to be those there telling people the truth through the Word of God. Proverbs 22:28. Remove not the ancient landmark which thy fathers have set up. Jeremiah 6:16. Thus saith the Lord, Stand ye in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths, where is the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, We will not walk therein. Well, it sounds like the proud and arrogant, and people who think they know it all, but walk in darkness. Comment 3. Guardianship of the world. To know that it was God that created the world and not someone else or something else, like the false teachings of evolution and a Big Bang theory or some other God. Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Verse 3. And they shall tell another generation, and those others, having read, shall be glorified thereafter more than the first. What's that talking about, I wonder? Who's it comparing with? Is it saying that one day there are going to be people more righteous than even those of the past? People like Noah and his family? John 6:63. It's the spirit that quickens, the flesh profits nothing. The words that I speak unto you, their spirit and their life. In Daniel 12:3. They that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that lead many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. The fallen angels. In other words, here I'm getting into explaining the origin of everything, because it used this word here in the beginning. Will generations coming that's very insatiate And insatiate means never satisfied, which also is a word for demonic. So where did that all start? Because you've got people on this planet today who are never satisfied. They have to have more and more and more and more, and that is demonic. Where did it all start? The fallen angels. And the women also of the angels that went astray shall become sirens. That's from 1 Enoch 19:2. Comment 4. That they would have different kinds of forms. That is why the locusts in Revelation are so terrifying. Always, after studying Jeremiah and Isaiah closely, you notice that when God smites the fallen angels and Satan's rebellion, during the tribulation period, heaven is rolled up as a scroll. And this is clearly seen in Revelation and Isaiah. Wow. Okay, well, I'll read a bit of this, but it's rather long, I think. Fascinating, there's a lot of Bible verses here. Jude 1:14-16. Okay, Enoch 15. Enoch tells Azazel, the fallen watcher, that the sons of the giants would become demons after death. But what are the women who had intercourse with the fallen angels? Enoch 19:2 says that the women who cohabitated with the fallen angels became sirens. What's a siren? A siren, another way of looking at them, well, what descended from them was what they call the mermaids. But there are different descriptions of the sirens as to what they look like. Half human, half bird head and stuff. A lot of interesting things. I've mentioned all this just because it says here about we come into a demonic generation, as is at the present time. So what sort of things we can expect coming back on the earth? Are we going to start seeing the kind of things that happened before the flood? Giants coming back on the planet and other critters hanging around? Also, I want to point out to you something. Why I mentioned the sirens, why it's important. If you remember what happened at the time of the flood, God's judgment, God destroyed everything on the earth, but he didn't destroy everything that was in the sea. So if there were strange critters in the sea, like, for example, sirens, mermaids, other strange creatures that most people are not aware of most of the time, but doesn't mean they're not there, well, they will get destroyed at the time of the wrath of God. It's important to realize that, because the flood did not destroy the things that are in the sea. Mermaids and other female demons. Oh yes, that's right. Where did all the female demons come? I've told you before that I believe that the demons generally were masculine. Why? Because if you read the book of Jubilees, you find out that the sons of the fallen angels, the giants, they were all male. And I've explained that somewhere else why that is. Because those fallen angels, they messed up. They left God out of the picture, they left the Holy Spirit, Mother out of the picture, and in thus doing, there was nothing feminine in what they created. Yes. However, the feminine side of the demonic world came into being from another source, which I have explained in my books. And that started with people like Neema, who was the daughter of Lamech the blind, who were descendants of Cain. Now that's very important you know the whole story of Cain, what really happened with Cain, to understand how evil came into this world in a big way. Because Neema and her two brothers, they started so much incredible evil. They started all the drunken houses and debauchery of every kind imaginable. Descendants of Cain. And it was the descendants and daughters of these people, Nehemiah, no, not Nehemiah, I got to say her name, Nehemiah. They became what was known as the licentious daughters of Cain, and it was them that attracted the fallen angels some few hundred years later, after that time of Lamech the blind. Very interesting stuff to read about, which you can read about in books like Jasher and Enoch. Amazing stuff, the origins of how evil came onto the planet. Important to know these things. But at one point I bring out there was one line of evil that never got destroyed at the flood, and that was the descendants of the Sirens, mermaids, these sort of things. Now I'm going to just bring something out here, that the military have found mermaids, and even captured them, and found their DNA to be almost identical with humans. But they look like a woman and a fish like you see in a movie, but they are not like the woman in Splash, I'll tell you right now. No chance. These things are deadly. They're very dangerous, alright? So it even says here in some, what St. Jerome said, look at this. Siren. St. Jerome, who produced the Latin Vulgate version of the Bible, used the word sirens to translate Hebrew Tanium jackals in Isaiah 13:22, and also to translate a word for owls in Jeremiah 50:39. In other words, they were using the word siren for things related to bad spirits. Sirens continue to be used as a symbol for the dangerous temptation embodied by women regularly throughout the Christian art of medieval era. However, in the 17th century, some Jesuit writers began to assert their actual existence. In other words, saying they're not just in art, they do exist, including Cornelius Rapide, who said of woman, her glance is that of the fabled Basilisk, her voice a siren's voice. Apparently the sirens used to sing in a way that was hypnotic. With her voice she enchants, with her beauty she deprives of reason. Voice and sight alike deal destruction and death. I would say because of creatures like this is why mankind has become afraid of women, and why they have relegated women to, second position, or worse in some cultures. Of course it's changing now, we hope. But there are reasons why, because there were other kind of creatures, feminine creatures that were incredibly dangerous, descended from the fallen angels. Micah 1:8, Septuagint. Therefore shall she lament and wail, she shall go barefooted. Being naked, she shall make lamentation as that of serpents, and mourning as the daughters of sirens. So it shows this class of creatures, or hybrids, or whatever they're called, descendants of the fallen angels, they are totally evil, demonic. Enoch 29:2. And the women also of the angels who went astray shall become sirens. Enoch 96:2. And the sirens shall sigh because of you and weep. Baruch 10:8, another apocryphal book. I will call the sirens from the sea. Comment 9, hybrids. Since Satan can only imitate what God has done, perhaps he was attempting to imitate the following verses in Ezekiel and Revelation, and also make a deliberate attempt to provoke God at the same time. Yes. Now here's some books I would suggest you need to know, and that is the book of Jasher. I have my book Jasher Insights, and it gives incredible verses, incredible information in the book of Jasher. I'll just read you a few verses here from Jasher. Jasher 4:18. and their judges and rulers went to the daughters of men and took their wives by force from their husbands, according to their choice. And the sons of men in those days took from the cattle of the earth, here changing the DNA. Obviously not humans doing this, humans can't do this. It's obviously angelic, fallen angel. They took from the cattle of the earth, the beasts of the field, the fowls of the air, taught the mixture of animals of one species with another. There's your hybrids, chimeras. In order therewith to provoke the Lord. And God saw the whole earth, it was corrupt. All flesh had corrupted its way upon earth, all men and all animals. And that's why they all were destroyed in time of the flood. And here I'm going to show you a couple of examples, amazing in the book of Joshua, where it's mentioning human beings meeting these chimeras. Very strange stories. The first one you'll find in my book, Joshua Insights Book 1, and the second one you'll find in Joshua Insights Book 2. And afterwards, about 120 great and terrible animals came out from the wilderness at the other side of the sea. And they all came to the place where the asses were, and they placed themselves there. And those animals from their middle downwards were in the shape of the children of men. From their middle upward had the likeness of bears, and some the likeness of keepers, with tails behind them, from between their shoulders, reaching down to the earth, like the tails of the Duchipath. And these animals came and mounted and rode upon these asses and led them all away. And they went away unto this day. And one of those animals approached Anna and smote him with his tail, and then fled from that place. And when he saw this work, he was exceedingly afraid for his life. And he fled and escaped to the city. And he related to his sons and brothers all that had happened to him. Many men went to seek the asses, but could not find them. And Aaron and his brothers went no more to that place in that day following, for they were greatly afraid for their lives. Well, here's a great hero, became a warrior king, a great grandson from Esau. Joshua 61, 15, 16. And Zepho went, and he saw, and behold, there was a large cave at the bottom of the mountain. And there was a great stone there at the entrance of the cave. And Zepho split the stone, and he came into the cave, and he looked, and behold, a large animal was devouring the ox. Must be pretty big. From the middle upward, it resembled a man, some sort of giant. And from the middle downward, it resembled an animal. And Zepho rose up against the animal, slew it with his swords. And the inhabitants of Chittim heard of this thing. They rejoiced exceedingly. And they said, what shall we do unto this man? The slain this animal that devoured our cattle. It would seem a case could be made to surmise the possibility that hybrids, chimeras, and mermaids, sirens, they do exist. Okay, well that's just a taste from this interesting chapter, which is taken from my new book, chapter 35, from the Secrets of Enoch. Well, I hope you like that taste, which is really a combination of some of my books. First, Enoch Insights and Joshua Insights, and from Secrets of Insights. You'll find that all my books, they combine together, and that's why it's important to know all these ancient Hebrew books, Enoch, Joshua, Jubilees, Testament of the 12 Patriarchs, Lost Books, Adam and Eve, Ezra, or apocryphal books of Second Esdras. You'll find these in all my Insights books. So I encourage people to do get my Insights books, starting with Enoch Insights, Joshua Insights, Jubilees Insights, Eden Insights, Testament of 12 Patriarch Insights, Esdras Insights, and I have 2 books on the paranormal, Out of the Bottomless Pit 1 and 2. Anyway, thanks for listening. And to let you know, we have a new website, which is www.insightspublication.com. New website with www.insightspublication.com. www.insightspublication.com. Thanks for listening.